Stay silent. Poor Maid protected her wealthy boss after hearing the husband's dark secret. Have you ever heard something you weren't supposed to? A whisper, a secret, something so dark it freezes the blood in your veins? What would you do? Would you speak up, risking everything? Or would you stay silent, hoping the storm would pass? Today's story is about Amanda, a woman who had to make that impossible choice. It's a tale of luxury, love, and a lie so profound it could cost a life. Stick around until the end, because the final twist you will not see coming. And I want to know in the comments what you would have done. Amanda's world was one of polished marble and unspoken rules. As the live-in maid for the Sterling family, she moved through their penthouse apartment like a ghost, a silent witness to a life she could never afford. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a breathtaking panorama of the city, but the view inside was often colder. Mr. Sterling, Lucas, was a titan of finance, handsome, with silver-flecked hair and a smile that never quite reached his eyes. He was all sharp edges and calculated charm. His wife, Evelyn, was his opposite. An artist, she was all softness and light. Her paintings, vibrant explosions of colour, stood in stark contrast to the minimalist, monochrome luxury Lucas preferred. Evelyn was kindness personified. She was the one who insisted Amanda call her by her first name, who always asked about her son, Miguel, who secretly paid for his expensive asthma medication when the insurance wouldn't cover it. To Amanda, Evelyn wasn't just a boss, she was a lifeline. A single mother fighting to give her boy a better life, Amanda saw in Evelyn the woman she aspired to be, strong, graceful and good. But lately, the light in Evelyn was dimming. A mysterious illness had plagued her for months. Dizziness, fatigue, nausea. Doctors were baffled, chalking it up to a persistent virus or stress. Lucas was the picture of a concerned husband, doting and worried, constantly fussing over her, bringing her glasses of water and her medication. But Amanda saw the cracks. She saw the way his concern vanished the second he thought he was alone, replaced by a mask of icy impatience. She saw how he'd sigh irritably when Evelyn was too weak to attend a gala with him. She noticed how he always insisted on preparing her evening tea himself, claiming it was his little ritual of care. Something about that ritual felt off to Amanda. It was too controlled, too possessive. But who was she to question the devoted husband? She was just the maid. So she stayed silent, polishing the silver and pushing her unease down deep. What would you have thought in Amanda's position? Would you have been suspicious, or would you have believed it was just stress? Let me know in the comments. It was a Tuesday evening. The city below was a river of diamonds. Lucas was at a late business dinner and Evelyn was asleep, exhausted after a particularly bad day. Amanda was finishing up, vacuuming the plush carpet in the master suite hallway. As she bent to unplug the machine, she heard it. Lucas's voice. Low, urgent, coming from his private study down the hall. He must have come home early. The door was slightly ajar. Amanda froze, her hand hovering over the plug. She knew she shouldn't listen. But the tone, it was all wrong. It wasn't his business voice. It was dark, venomous. She crept closer, her heart hammering against her ribs. The ghost in the mansion was about to hear a truth that would shatter its pristine walls. "I don't care about the side effects. Just make sure it's untraceable," Lucas hissed into his phone. "The doctors are already convinced it's an autoimmune disorder. A few more weeks of increasing the dosage, and it will look like a tragic cardiac complication." She was always so frail. Amanda's blood ran cold. She stopped breathing. No. The prenup is ironclad unless she passes naturally. Then everything is mine. Every painting, every share, this apartment, everything. A pause. Amanda could hear the vile smile in his voice. Love? Don't be absurd. This was always a business transaction. She was my key to respectability, to old money. Now she's my key to freedom. Just get it done. The usual drop-off tomorrow. The call ended. Amanda stumbled back, her hand flying to her mouth to stifle a gasp. The world tilted. The doting husband. The mysterious illness. The tea. It was all a lie. A meticulously planned, cold-blooded murder. Her first instinct was to run to Evelyn, to shake her awake and scream the truth, but fear glued her to the floor. Lucas Sterling was a powerful man with powerful friends. If he was capable of this, what would he do to a poor, undocumented maid and her sick son? Her word against his, she'd be deported, or worse, before she could even finish her sentence. Terror washed over her. The choice was paralyzing. Speak and risk everything, her job, her freedom, Miguel's future. Or stay silent and become an accomplice to the murder of the only person who had ever shown her true kindness. She heard Lucas's chair scrape back. Panic seized her. She darted into a linen closet, pulling the door shut, just as he strode out of his study and down the hall, whistling. Amanda sat in the dark, surrounded by the scent of lavender laundry sheets, and cried silent, terrified tears. She had to make a choice. This is the moment. The high-stakes choice. What would you do? Risk everything to speak up, or stay silent to protect yourself and your child? Type "speak" or "silent" in the comments right now. Amanda chose. But it wasn't silence. It was a war waged in the shadows. She couldn't speak the truth. Not yet. She had no proof, but she could act. The next evening, as Lucas began his ritual in the kitchen, Amanda moved like a phantom. She accidentally knocked over the cup of tea he had just prepared, the ceramic shattering on the marble floor. "Oh, Mr. Sterling, I am so sorry. Clumsy me," she exclaimed, her voice trembling with a fear he mistook for subservience. He scowled, his irritation barely contained. "Just clean it up, Amanda. I'll make another." But Amanda was already there, cleaning furiously, making sure to wipe every drop of the contaminated liquid away. She did this again and again. She'd create distractions, fake a migraine that required Evelyn's help, anything to interrupt the ritual. Evelyn's health began to stabilize, ever so slightly. The colour returned to her cheeks. Lucas grew more frustrated, more careless. Amanda started watching him, her phone always in her apron pocket. She recorded him talking in cryptic terms on the phone about deliveries and increasing potency. It was circumstantial, but it was a start. The breaking point came when she found a small, unlabelled vial hidden at the back of the spice rack, behind the saffron. Her hands shook as she held it. This was the weapon. But if she took it, he would know someone was onto him. The stakes were rising. One afternoon, Evelyn was well enough to sit in her sun-drenched studio. She looked at Amanda, her eyes clear for the first time in weeks. "It's strange," she mused, dabbing a brush on a canvas. "I feel better when Lucas is away on his trips. Isn't that a terrible thing to say?" Amanda's heart ached. This was her chance. A half-truth. Perhaps it is the stress, Ma'am," Amanda said gently, polishing a window. "The pressure to be well for him. Sometimes the people who claim to care for us the most can be the source of our sickness." Evelyn put her brush down and looked at Amanda, a flicker of understanding in her eyes. It was a seed, a tiny, dangerous seed. "Do you think Amanda is right to plant seeds of doubt, or should she just show Evelyn the evidence? Let me know your thoughts." Lucas was getting desperate. Evelyn wasn't getting worse. She was getting better. He announced a romantic weekend at home, just the two of them. He insisted on cooking every meal himself. Amanda knew what that meant. This was his final push. She had to act. She couldn't steal the vial without tipping him off. So, she did the next best thing. She replaced it. Using a syringe, she carefully drew the liquid from the hidden vial and replaced it with a mixture of water and green food colouring, hoping the colour was a close enough match. She hid the real poison in her own room, a vial of damnation tucked under her mattress next to a picture of her son. The weekend was a torture. Amanda made excuses to stay close, her every nerve on fire. She watched Lucas like a hawk. On Sunday evening, she saw him slip the contents of the fake vial into a rich, hearty stew. "Amanda, why don't you take the night off? Go visit your son," Lucas said, his voice dripping with false generosity. "We're fine here." He was getting rid of her. She couldn't refuse without raising suspicion. "Thank you, sir," she said, her voice barely a whisper. She left the apartment, but she didn't go far. She waited in the staff stairwell, her phone in hand, the recording app open, praying her plan would work. An hour later, her phone buzzed. It was Evelyn. "Amanda, I don't feel well. Dizzy. Lucas says it's nothing, but can you come back? Please?" Amanda ran. She burst into the penthouse. Evelyn was pale, slumped at the dining table. Lucas was standing over her, a glass of water in his hand, a mask of concern on his face. "She just needs to sleep it off," he said smoothly. "Did you enjoy the stew, Mr. Sterling?" Amanda asked, her voice shockingly steady. Lucas froze. "What did you say?" "The stew. You served it. You ate it too, didn't you? To keep up appearances. But you only pretended to eat. I watched you." His face began to change. The concern melted away, revealing the cruel, calculating man beneath. "You stupid little woman," he sneered. "You have no idea what you're meddling in." "I think I do," Amanda said, holding up her phone. "I have it all recorded. Your phone calls, you talking about the dosage. And I have the real vial. The one you just used was water and food colouring. The police are on their way." It was a bluff, but for a glorious second he believed it. His composure shattered. Rage contorted his features. "You ruined everything!" he roared, lunging towards her. But he never reached her. Because Evelyn stood up, and the weakness, the frailty, was gone. In its place was a cold, terrifying fury. "No, Lucas," Evelyn said, her voice like steel. "You did." Lucas stopped, confused. The scene was wrong. His sick, vulnerable wife was standing tall, her eyes blazing. What is this?" he stammered. "This is consequences," Evelyn said. She walked to a hidden panel in the wall, pressed it, and a small security camera hub descended. "I've known for 2 months, Lucas. I hired a private investigator the day my mysterious illness began." "Amanda," she said, turning to the stunned maid, her eyes softening. "Your kindness was real, but your protection, it was my final test. I needed to know if I had one ally in this house of lies." Amanda could only stare, her mind reeling. Evelyn turned back to her husband. "The prenup you're so fond of, the one my father's lawyers drew up, it has a clause you obviously didn't read. Any attempt to harm me, physically or financially, nullifies it entirely. You get nothing. And the video evidence from my cameras, combined with Amanda's recordings and the vial of poison she so bravely secured, will put you away for a very, very long time." Lucas was pale, a broken man. You set me up." "I protected myself," Evelyn corrected him. "I gave you every chance. I prayed I was wrong. But you were just too greedy. You didn't just betray me, Lucas. You tried to erase me." The wail of sirens grew louder, echoing up from the streets below, climbing the tower towards them. The sound of justice. Woe. Just woe. Did you see that twist coming? Evelyn wasn't the victim. She was the hunter all along, waiting for her prey to stumble into the trap. But it was Amanda's courage, her choice to wage a silent war, that provided the final, crucial evidence. The aftermath was justice served. Lucas Sterling was convicted of attempted murder and sentenced to 25 years. Evelyn, freed from her gilded cage, sold the penthouse. But she didn't forget the woman who stood by her. She paid for Amanda's citizenship application in full. She set up a full college fund for Miguel. And she went into business with Amanda, funding a non-profit organisation called The Silent Voices, dedicated to helping domestic workers and other vulnerable people escape abuse and find their voice. Amanda's silence wasn't weakness, it was strategy. Her voice, when she finally used it, wasn't just speech, it was a weapon that toppled a monster. So, what's the powerful lesson here? It's that goodness is not weakness. That silence can be powerful, but it must never be permanent. And that sometimes the people society overlooks the maids, the assistants, the quiet ones are the ones with the greatest strength and the deepest courage. If you were moved by Amanda's impossible choice and Evelyn's brilliant revenge, hit that like button. It really helps the channel. And let me know in the comments, was Evelyn right to use Amanda as part of her test, or was that too dangerous? And what's the one secret you've never told anyone? Don't worry, your secret is safe with us. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for more stories about modern revenge, shocking betrayals, and the power of speaking up. Until next time, stay aware.